Even de grote olifant pakken.
Okay, video is live. We can open the doors. Are you ready, Paul? Your sound is off. We're good to go?
Ik hoor niks alleen maar door de koptelefoon. Sorry.
We're good to go?
Ik denk het wel.
Right.
Ik zie daar een aantal mensen in de waiting room staan, dus...
Let's do it. Press the green button.
Event will start.
Woohoo! And we're live. Ah. Welcome, everyone. Great to have you all here. Paul, I give you the mic and everything. I will be in the background if you need me. Just...
Yep, but it's around 7 minutes left for it.
I will see that we have our speakers present.
Okay, YouTube is live. Yeah. I hope everybody got the email by now.
Yeah, I'm still chasing first speaker. Um, Normally it was there, and I don't seem to get it. So if we don't find the speaker in time, I will do a little dance and have some fun. But yeah, just bear with us. We still have a bit of time, so
Just make my elephant tower again. Okay, we're having now not so many attendees yet. Expected to grow a little bit more. Now 16 people. Okay. Anyway, I will start with introducing you to the meetup. So in the next 10 minutes, I will go over some, let's say, organizing items, and the real speakers will appear for our first speaker, which is Roland Kola, at 7:10. Then we'll have a little break at 8 o'clock for 10 minutes. And then 8:10, Ismail will have the second talk for tonight. And then, of course, relatively important, we have our closing notes, which includes a raffle of all kinds of goodies. We actually represent and are represented by many communities in the Benelux area, PHP Benelux area. And it is, of course, because of COVID that we're here doing this virtual meetup online. So basically, we are back to our roots. We started this journey in 2008 with some meetups, soon followed by our first conference. And now, yeah, we are back in doing these very nice regular meetups once every month. So big thanks also to our speakers. Roland Langula will speak about PHP Stan and Captain Hook. He'll show us how to improve the quality by shifting left with PHP Stan and Captain Hook PHP. And Ismail will explain us how we can use our technology to make a social impact and use it for good. We have sponsors tonight. Three main sponsors are Heroku, Spatie, and Into IT, company of Michelangelo. And we'll have quite some raffles today. There are the pink and blue elephants, which are donated and sponsored by Into IT. We have purple, nice, very nice purple ones by Heroku, and apparently it includes also a pair of socks. And then finally, and it's almost has been like every meetup in the past months, Spatie is donating Frontline PHP, basically an ebook with very interesting videos on building modern application with PHP 8. The logistics for today, once more, it's Into IT who pays for this because this is not a free service, Click Meeting that we are using. So thank you very much to all our sponsors, Spatie, Heroku, and Into IT. A round of applause is a bit difficult right now, but you can appreciate your appreciation in the chat. Okay, still waiting now for the speaker. Okay. I don't see him right now. Yeah, he's there. Okay, maybe let's wait a little bit more.
So I think you can see me and hear me.
Yes, very good.
Okay, sometimes when I connect here, my docking station is going down. So I have to check where I am. Okay, I'm here. So far, so good.
So,
do I have to share screen sharing? Just do it, yes.
yeah.
Ah, cool. This works. So every time a new tool.
Yes.
Not a problem so far, but okay. So I just will start.
I think so, yes. Most attendees are here, so.
Do you see my terminal here, by the way?
Yes. I see it.
Okay, then I think I have everything what I want to do to show you. Okay, yeah, thank you very much for the organization of this online event here. It's super important that we do events like this. And first, also, people don't think that they like it very much to get this online presentations, but we need new knowledge. So massive thank you to you to do this. Let me introduce myself a bit. My name is Roland. I'm here from Duisburg, Germany. I'm PHP speaker and trainer for testing and refactoring since a few years. In Germany, I founded the company Never Code Alone because I have mental breakdown 4 years ago. And I go out to all stages and all communities to tell developers that legacy code can make you ill. And this is very hard when your health gets damaged because client wants to don't want to pay tests or something like this. And this is super important that we know that we can have healthy damage on it, and that mental illness is super hard to go out of this. I will also do more on this topic. And yes, I also have a company now, Testify, that is an agency for testing. So you can give us user stories and we will do the tests for you in Codeception or in Cypress.io. So this was a self-advertising blog so far. And today I will show you PHP Stan and Captain Hook. In last November, set up, in last November, 1 year ago, I set up first time this 2 tools, and they are super powerful because they are like a little quality gate on my local machine. And yeah, I will start to show you PHP Stan first, and after that I will show you Captain Hook in combination then with PHP Stan. I think it was 30 minutes or 45 minutes. I don't know exactly how long time I have. Are you still there?
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So you have actually until 8 o'clock.
Yeah, this is super easy. I'll make you a bit louder. Okay. So far, if you have any questions, I don't see the message chat now. Maybe you can read them to ask me things.
Yes, we have also a question and answering system related to the chat. I will activate it also after your talk, but people can already indicate.
Maybe I can do this on my other screen here. Yeah, this is a new setup for me, but it's just Chrome. But yeah, I try my best. Okay, so far so good. Let us start with PHP Stan. PHP Stan is static code analyze, and the big thing on PHP Stan is that you have level, and levels are gamification, and gamification brings a lot of fun to your life. And on a few YouTube videos, I also show live coding on the Zulu CMS. I do a lot with Zulu CMS. This is a super powerful CMS. I can show you also on other, maybe on other meetings here. We have here the Zulu core system. I hope it's big enough. We have here the Zulu core, what I checked out from the just from the Zulu project. When you want to contribute anything to open source, it's super easy to do things with PHP Stan it will always raise the quality of your code, and you can just fire it on applications and give them a few more or better lines, and then you have pull requests. And when you want to have some pull requests or give anything back to open source, it's super easy to do it, because it's not actually task or that you have to understand the whole application. I can do it to WordPress, Typo 3, Zulu, or any PHP project. So when you want to contribute to somebody, it's also a good start point. We have here now a normal Symfony structure, and I made one command here. You see here, I got PHP Stan on my local system as a global composer package. And then you can say PHP Stan, please analyze, and then the source to your file. Here is some official PHP Stan Neon configuration file. We look at this file later. It's not so important now what is in there. And you can say, okay, give me a level, like level 1. And now you see, I will check source Zulu bundle. It's a page bundle. There are different bundles, and you can run this on a folder. And with level 1, you will see that it checks it, and it found one error. And you have here ignored error pattern, invalid type hint. This is the application is running, and it's a live system, and everything is clear here. They are going to implement PHP Stan as static code analyze, and they go up from level 1 to level 2 now. It's not the most actual checkouts here. But you see that when there are some type hints on any code line and do not match, it will report this to you. When you go up with the levels, later we will check on the documentation the levels. Normally you would fix this here, and then you will say, hey, make level 2, and level 2 is actual our boss enemy. And there are some call to undefined methods. This is what we have to do with some setting. But there will also be more. Wait, let me check. More issues, like then you have here invalid doc types. You have here an unexpected token ID, expected type add. So this also will check your code and analyze it and go on a greater level. It's more than just a syntax checker. It will also tell you when you have an array and you check an array key somewhere in your application. It's this PHP Stan will ask you to check if this key already exists. So everything what can make a warning on your PHP logs will be found, and you can protect you against this. Okay, I hope my English is good enough that you will understand this here. You have here cannot access property count on array. Maybe we can open this file and check what we have here to understand it. Let me check this out. Okay. It was line 110. So also PHP Stan has to analyze it here, and I think it's not so easy to find out. We have to initialize the workspace here, but it looks like import is workspace. I cannot jump to there, but that it will not return the property count. And yeah, this is super powerful. Let us check the indexing in background. And when we will level up this, there's also level 3. Oh, now my processor is doing something. It's getting a bit warmer here. So you have now 66 errors. And this is something new here. And this is an issue that will gain your knowledge as PHP developer. So when you have errors like this, you have a working code and it's okay. And you see it your whole life, and everything maybe on your company or on your office will say, hey, this is okay. And when you use this tool, you will see, hey, there is something what I can do better. And everybody can do it better. And so you can level yourself up. But it's not like this that you can say, that you have to say, I start here on a level maximum and have a legacy project, and I have to refactor all the project and all the files just now to go green here. You can get in little steps forward to make your code better. And this is a big benefit of this tool. So I hope that we have this line now. Oh, it's very big indexing here. So far so good, but you understand how PHP Stan is working. You get lines here and you get problems here, and you can solve these problems and challenge yourself with your team to make better code. This is going up to level, when you have your project, the Solo CMS project is super complex. It's a super big project. When you have little project like little bundles, little extensions, or importer or whatever, then you can say you are going very easy up to level 5. I think the first target on every developer team should be to reach level 5. On level 5, you will see here are now (126 errors, and this here is a new one. Negated Boolean expressions is always false. These are things that you maybe do not see on the first view. We will also check this when our application is ready. I don't want to annoy you more with jumping around here. We want to see what we can do and believe in. So maybe we are back on track. So you can jump here. You will also see it here on PHP Storm. And I cannot go also in PHP Storm to this $import count. But you don't see it here on my PHP Storm on my PHP Storm border. They are working on integration for PHP Storm. I think they start with it, and this is a beta software. It's going up on the next time, and when you see, we'll see here, you get this import, and this import function is an interface. You have okay, so I have to analyze more where this is will be used, and where is the return value or the properties. I cannot say here. Maybe we will see it on the other thing. But now, if you want to contribute to Zulu CMS, just check out the core and go to this line and think about what is here the problem, and maybe you can just say the count is around some other variable what comes back, or what the count means, and then you fix something and you are in the history of contributors, and this is super cool. Maybe I'm too fast. Sometimes I'm too fast in speaking. Okay, let us check this here, line 75, if we understand it. It would be cool if we have normal discussion now on the meetup with you with beer. Then you can say, hey, this is like this, and this would be super funny. But on video, it's not so easy. Let me check. It was sitemap and line 75. Okay, it says it's every time negated Boolean expressions is always false. So I think on get location, we have to check the get return. Get return is, I don't see it so far. If you, I think that was a Boolean here, but it's not a Boolean. Cannot say so far return location. Sets new. I don't know exactly what is the issue here, but I think maybe someone can tell us now what it is. It was here. I think here comes a Boolean is a Boolean return value. And when you ask it like this, you will every time run in the continue case. So this is maybe a big issue, a big error. But I hope you understand what PHP Stan gives you as a tool to refactor your code. Is there something? Okay. Yeah, so far so good. I hope you understand this task now. I got to just tea because I talk too much. Okay. So result, go to level 5, make your team better, and challenge your levels to your application. It's also super good when you start projects from any clients or any other sources, from older projects, from whatever you are doing, to run this over it, because it will also say it's a good indicator to tell you about the software quality, and you can use it as a quality gate. And the other thing on static code analyze is you can run it here without any environment. I don't need database. I don't need Docker. I don't need anything. It's static code analyze. And this is so cool because I just can start, check my code, and say, hey, please do this better. Okay, we have a little discussion here on the chat. I think this would be so powerful when we can do this with beer. Maybe later when we have the open speaking here, maybe we can go back to my terminal and find out, and then we can fix it, and then we can contribute right now today to Zulu. This would be a good thing, yes. Okay, now let's check out Captain Hook. We have here NCA Zulu, our Never Code Alone Zulu project. This is also a full stack. It's a cool thing here is this is a full stack Symfony CMS system. So you have here just a Symfony structure, and you can, when you have a Symfony application and you want to add content management features, you can just add Zulu under your application or your application under Zulu. 2 ways are possible here. And then you have a very cool content management system and just have your old application structure, so you don't have to gain no knowledge about Typo 3 or whatever content management system you want to use. This is so cool because you are just in a Symfony application and you know how to handle web services, you know how to inject things, and this is what you want to have, and this is super powerful. The other thing, when I work here, I will open it for you. Whoopa, wrong one. Normally when I work here, I have to do new content types, and sometimes on this content types, I have to do, what's here wrong? This is a new resolution here, I think. Maybe I have to open a file, okay. Hello. Good, we are back on track. Normally I'm working on templates, and templates has configuration, and maybe we have a configuration here like this homepage, and maybe we make an error here, okay? And this could happen because we just want to explain you an error here. This error will also shown on PHP Storm, but maybe sometimes you have not properties or the right structure of this XML or whatever. You can imagine that there are other issues. What I can do here then a syntax error. And now when I work around, I think, hey, this is cool because I make something. Then when I commit, I do this actually here on master because I can. So I make a git at all and will say here, we made something on XML. And when I want to commit this now, Git hook is a tool where you can configure your Git hooks. So I have here a few hooks on my commits. And in combination with static code analyze, it's super powerful. And I have here an XML linter, just a simple XML linter. And it also will run on every commit that I do. And when I run it now, then Captain Hook comes up and says, ah, something failed. Also gamification, also funny. You have this red and green, and red and green is so cool. So you see what I checked here. We got this PHP code sniffer here. We got PHP stan code analyze, and you also can exclude files. I do something now on an XML file, and every checks will fired on every file. You also can handle this that it only will work on what you want to fire on XML files, and that you only want to check the actual XML files that you changed. On this project, this is so little the project that I can run all my tests in every time. And now it says, hey, here's the XML lint says, hey, your configuration has an error, check this out, everything is passed, but I have this error here on my XML. So I cannot even commit, how is this peinlich in English, super annoying issues that I forget something. Painful, I think it's jail use or something like this. I don't know, but this is super. Yes, you are senior developer and everything, and then you push an error like this, you commit it, and when you commit it, you can push it. And now we go to the next step here. So I can say wasn't it git clean, git restore. Can also do it here for this live coding. I can say that I also can do it here. Yes. Okay. So another thing is that you maybe want to commit things because you are working on it, but you don't want to commit to push things. And that's example what I will show you now is the reason why I started with Captain Hook. When you see the other end, it's the homepage .html.twig file. Normally I work on something like this for loop here, and you see that I have to do things on the content variable. And when I work on, or even you work on something, you maybe need to internal, maybe you dump something like content, or maybe when you see for loops like this here, then you will dump the key, and then you will dump this this expression here. You will dump the fields if this is okay. So you maybe have dumps in your code while you are working on it, and then something is working and you want to commit it, and then you can commit it. Yes, we will do this here now. Maybe you see this better when it's on top here. We made something on Twig, and then it will check, and then it will say, hey, everything is okay. You got something now done on your work, and I forgot this dump in my HTML. And then I push this thing. And then a build pipeline starts. And the build pipeline here will every time build a subdomain for each branch, and then it will find out, hey, you cannot install, you have forgotten the dump here, the how is it called, the error bundle, or I don't know exactly the name, what you need. When you have production systems, it will not work when you have dumps inside. It will go hard out 500, and this is super annoying because you wait 10 minutes for your build pipeline, and you say, hey, my work is ready, everything is fine. You also forget this internal dump because you have it on another. I speak to the wrong corner here, because I have it now on my other screen. Okay, let me. Now you see me double. Okay, I have to speak to you. then you will say, and this was so painful, and I hate it. And yeah, I pushed something, go out to playground with my kids, and then I deploy something with my smartphone because I don't want to deploy something when I have to sit here. I want to go out. This automates things. They have this things my project has to deploy when I go by car with my kids to the swimming pool or whatever. Then I have to check it on my smartphone, and on my smartphone will say, okay, every test is green, and I say, okay, here, client, you got this preview URL, check this out. And then I also can bring this from my preview stage to the live system here. And so I have to clean up. I need something that I have to clean up what mentioned me before I push. I don't know if we can push now from here because maybe it's a protected branch. But when I say git push, we have this pre-hook here. And this pre-hook is running my dump finder.sh script. And this will say, hey, Roland, you forgot the fucking dump in your Twig template. Cool, isn't it? So I cannot even push fucking errors that I hate. And so I can say I have this commit here because sometimes I want to commit, but I have to roll back and I have to remove this thing here, and then I can push. I don't want to do a push now because I'm a master, but I hope you will understand this. This project here is completely on GitHub open source. I will show it to you. And then we will check a few things of documentations, and then I am around, open for questions. github.com/nevercodealone/Zulu CMS Symfony Zulu. In this project is all my knowledge about PHP, about testing, about everything. This is open source. You can get it. You can ask me anything about it. I want to raise the working conditions for developers, for PHP developers. And I want that you have all my tools and that you use all the tools. So when you want to know anything about it, just ask me, call me. On Night, on Slack, on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you want. I think you cannot send direct messages on YouTube, but you will find me and I will help you. Open source software craftsmanship is passion, and here is my GitLab pipeline inside with this super cool feature branch magic. Here is my dump finder is in here. You have codeception tests in here for unit tests, for acceptance tests. API tests are removed. And so you can also, we have here this PHP Stan neon file, what we will look later on. And you have here the Captain Hook JSON, what we will look right now. So if you have any questions or anything, but give thumb ups for this thing to make my heart a bit faster beaten and to give you more of this stuff, because I love this quality tools. So far, so good. We will check PHP, the Captain Hook configuration now and the documentation. And then PHP Stan, and then we are around. This was fast, wasn't it? But you are also all super senior PHP developers, so I think I don't roll over you. And I also want to give people, or when I am in front of a stage, it's better when I get more information and can filter it for me to get less information. So maybe it's not so easy when you don't see people, if they are focused on it and if you have the crowd as a speaker, or if they also look like this because super lazy topic. I hope there will be in the future better technologies to get more feedback from you. Okay, Captain Hook. PHP, I think other way we will see Walt Disney. Documentation, very nice documentation, but you don't have to do anything spectacular. You can just use it with Composer, and then you will in it has a thing with Captain Hook configure. Captain Hook configure will ask you how many Git hooks you will do here. We will see this here when we will see $git hooks. Then you will see that there are some hooks here. You will see here is a commit message example. So when the Git hooks makes you annoying and you have to push something super fast, just remove this folder and you can push. And so maybe it's a forced push. Maybe you don't do this when you have lost a dump here, but you can handle it, and then you can with a Captain Hook command, you can re-inject these things. They are not stored to Git anymore. When we will see here in commit this commit message sample, maybe not the commit message. You can also check commit messages if they start with a upper character, and if they got a dot on the end, and you can post checkouts, commits, merge. We will see some magic here, but for now we just will see git /hooks pre-commit. Whoppa. This is a result. I have here some error on my Python. Pre-commit sample. This is original here. And you see, this is not PHP. And maybe you don't want to read these things. But this is how you normally have to configure commit. Pre-commit hook, git hook. Sorry for this. I think I need more beer here. So this is super complicated, and we cannot read it. But when you see this now here, they just say here is a configuration at captainhook.json, and we need this autoloader here, and yes, it's PHP. You can say it's PHP what they use here, and this is easy. Everybody can read it. So you have one captainhook.json file, and every information that you need is in this captainhook.json file. And then we will check this here. Scroll too deep. Captain Hook JSON file. We get this pre-pushes. The only pitfall that you can say that I found out here, default, here is a false. And then when you add here some action, like I do here some action, the action is the only thing what is run on the terminal. When you add here some action, you can add more actions here. it's simple array. We all know JSON. We can read it. We understand this here. And then you can say, please, on pre-push enabled with true, run my dump finder. And yeah, that's it. We got here some pre-commits, as you see. We have here a super simple PHP linting, what comes out of the box. I got here my PHP code sniffer for my PHP styles. I have here my PHP stan command that uses the PHP stan neon file. All information, all configuration is in this file. This is easier when you handle also excluded files or whatever here, because then you don't have every time to get another command on the terminal. This is a very good thing. And I got here my super simple XML linter. And this 8 lines, this is 8 lines, yeah, maybe 9 lines, will change your life. This is the best thing in the last, I would say, in the last 20 years of my developing, that I find out these things here. Because now I have a little build pipeline. Here I have a quality gate on my local machine, and I can use this quality gate every time. Also when the team is not using it, also when the client will not use it, also when anybody don't want to use it, I got my own quality gate here. I can use PHP stan as a global. I can also set up this super global that on every time when I commit something, the PHP code is validated on PHP stan with level 5. So I'm out of the box a better developer than anybody else in the team, except that the guys who can just read things or just detect this with their mind. Yeah. And yeah, you have here more possibilities to add things. So this is not the end of the configuration things. Okay, let us check here. So you get install the installation, and this install command will link this git hooks from the .git folder to your local captainhook.json file. Configuration. Any questions here? PHP MD and PHP CPD to your tools. Yeah, this is a good question because I don't use these tools so far. Yeah, I find out a new tool what I don't see anywhere. Just a second. Hallo Mira, ich spreche gerade mit Jungs hier.
Aber hast du dann was von meinem Apfelsaft abgetrunken?
Ich habe deinen Apfelsaft getrunken.
Nicht ganz.
Ich habe jetzt, guck mal, Apfelsaft ist leer. Hammer, ich mache dir gleich was Neues, ja?
Mhm.
Okay, ich komme gleich raus. Danke. Yeah, the apple juice was removed. So the thing is, but maybe, okay, I will find it. Trello.com. I think this tool is cool, but I don't know exactly if it is. Maybe you can tell me. PDepend. Do you know about PDepend? This Hey, Jennifer, what was this? Maybe on Cypress, on Cypress.io. PDepend is also a tool. Oh, yeah, I look on the wrong machine here. A tool what I want to look at. Yes, there are super many very good and powerful tools. Now with this, I have a reason to work with them. We can later ping me on Twitter, send me all your tools. I will fire everything on the Never Code Alone project, what brings me up, and make videos on it. And I have super much passion on it. Okay, you have the samples. The samples are like the samples I showed to you, but you can also say, hey, just do this on my staged files of type PHP. So when this is going not so fast over you, and you can say, hey, please do this only on my staged files. You can do this every time on your staged files, and just on the when there are some changes on PHP files. This is super powerful when you want to have better performance. Yes. But you see, yes, on me, there are not very much files that I have to check. And there are only 2 tools running. Maybe the tools that you provide here on chat need more time or whatever, then you can handle it here. And you also can say when there is a file, when you when you do a merge or you will change a branch and there is a change on the composer JSON or the composer log file, it will automatically do a composer install. Maybe that also will save work time for you, that you can say, okay, I do this here and this, oh, this is not running. Why is it not running? Oh, I have to do a composer install. And this is very good when you are working on with larger teams where something more happening, because on Never Code Alone on this project is also only working one guy. And yeah, so that's it. But you can, there is some more magic in the box than I use, but this magic what I have so far, I feel like the Wizard of Oz. Yes. Don't know exactly if the Wizard of Oz was a good wizard. I think I mean Orko from He-Man. I don't know if anybody knows this. He was also not the best wizard, but okay. Yeah, so check out this documentation. Also, another big thing on PHP Stan. So I think you will understand this, and then you have hooks here. I think there was also an example how to write better commit messages. There is somewhere a blog post about it, and commit message. Don't know where it is now. You can make your custom hooks and much more things. I don't know. I will bring it to you later in the chat. PHP Stan. I think this is everything what you need to know about Captain Hook. It's working. Yes, it's fucking working. You get this JSON file and you can fire everything. And PHP Stan so far. Time goes by. Yes, you got this. It's level 8 here, and on level 0, it's not working. You get this little example. Play around with it. With the rules, and you have here documentation, and on this documentation you have the rule levels, and the rule levels are here. So you can start with 0 when you have basic checks, unknown classes, unknown functions, unknown method calls. Maybe in super legacy projects it will help you So I believe in level 5, not for the Zulu project. In the Zulu project, it would be a big thing when we reach level 2. There is also a baseline. So you can say, generate a baseline when you say, okay, I go on level max and there will be 600 errors or something. And then you can say, please make me a baseline, and in this baseline, every error that is found will be in this baseline and excluded. So you can say we have a legacy project, but every future code line that I write from now, from today, will be protected on PHP Stan level max. This is also a good thing to start things on the Typo 3 community. On the Typo 3 core, Alex Schnitzler, we also make a live coding session on YouTube, has leveled this up. And with the baseline. So you say, okay, we want to protect us from now. So he excluded anything, says, okay, we start with level 2 or anything for our new code, or level 5. I don't know actually what was the first target. And then he started to remove every item from the baseline. Cool thing. Okay, 8 o'clock. I think also I'm through it. I don't know exactly what you can also say on PHP Stan. You can say, oh, we have this configuration file here. So my configuration file is it's level 5, and it excludes analyze the source kernel PHP file from Symfony because it's not written by me. That's it. You can here configure anything that you want. It's so powerful, like PHP unit or whatever. You have this configuration files that can handle massive things. Okay, I am through it. I don't know how to leave the presentation here. I press a button, maybe I'm away, and
yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
I'll just activate now the question and answer mode. So for the attendees, you can ask a question by clicking now on this button. But I've seen also a few questions already flying past here in the chats.
By the way, here is one question about PHP Storm, that you need the newest PHP Storm versions, that you run this quality tools in PHP Storm. Use it on your GitLab. Protect yourself. When you have some things local and you are the only using guy in the team, you lost. You have to do this on GitLab, and everybody has to run against this quality gate. Okay, so questions.
Yeah, there was also a remark a bit earlier about you remember that on the boolean that was always true. It was actually Marcel Toll who came up with a reason. He told you it's actually basically an object that is always returned, so the negation of an object is always false. It was smart to see that. There was also a question on how does PHP Stan compares with competition. Let's put it in general. Of course, to answer those questions, you need to have worked with all those competitors, and that's usually.
Yes, this is right. I think Psalm and PHP Stan. This is like Mercedes and BMW. I think I don't use Psalm. I think the most advantage. I don't know if Psalm has levels. Levels are a big adventure of PHP Stan for me. Could also be that they are so similar that both have levels. I think Psalm can autocorrect files when you want it, but I don't know it exactly. But I don't use it. Cannot say. Both tools are super powerful, and use them. Cannot say more. I think one of my daughters don't want to go to bed. Say she will be a backend developer, I think.
Okay. Any more question in the audience?
PHP MD and PHP CPD. I will write it on my list here, and yeah, the future is now. I will check these files. CPD and MD. I also can get better on tools and get more tools. Thank you for the support, but I cannot say I because I don't know them. I need more speakers like me that will show me the things. When anybody of you make blog posts, make little videos or whatever you want to provide tools to the community. This is so important that we share our knowledge together and to bring us everybody. So when you make little videos or you think there is every time 50 blog posts about this topic. When you reach one like me with one of your posts, it's cool, yes. I hope this don't answer the question, but I will do the best.
Okay, we have some more questions going up on the screen now because it's in Q&A mode. If you look at it, Roland, it's
okay. How powerful and effective is Depends. I don't know. I have contact to the Java community because we make some live coding things with Java, and this is in the Java community. This is a tool everybody knows. And last thing, I read some job offers because I make a video about that we get lies in job offers, and this lies will also damage our mental health. I make a video about this on YouTube because it's 3 times behind. They told me they have tests and continuous integration and refactor, and they have what I want to hear. And when I start the job, they say, here, welcome to the real world. And after the third hit, I was totally damaged and totally confused. I also think there is no company out there that don't tell lies in job offers and don't and use tests and continuous integration. So I built up my own company that do it. But this is other topic here, and it's 2 days ago that I see this name Depends. I don't know. There is one contributor, I think, with 6,000 commits, and then the next one has 250. I think it's only one guy who use it or who do it, and I don't know exactly what this tool do, but it was on a job offer, and maybe it's powerful. Cannot say. We have to check much more tools. We need more time to play around with tools. We get more Slack time. Every Friday we need Slack time to contribute open source and to get in touch with open source. We have to say nobody will work on Friday. No senior developer has to work on Friday. This also will push the junior developers, because when no senior developer is actually coding on a Friday, they have to do more for junior developers. Okay.
Okay. Next question.
Maybe I can answer one question. Yes. Have you already used the PHP extensions for PHP Storm? Yes, I used it. would you advise against or advocate for it? I use it. I'm a terminal. I love terminal. I love working on terminal, and I don't know PHP Stan. Okay, this makes that I directly see errors that I write, but it's like a coding standard. When you use it and you have and you start working with it, it goes in your fingers, it goes in your in your blood and in your soul, and you don't do the same issue the second time. You know that there is a spacing between F and the opening closure, or what is it? I don't know the word now. And this is the same for me for PHP Stan. I'm addicted with this tool and don't need it on my PHP Storm, but the extension is working very good. I know a few. Also, Alex Schnitzler is using it from the Typo 3 core team, and yes, use it.
Okay.
It's good.
And there was also, but I think we actually already answered this.
Yeah, Psalm. I have to do something with Psalm.
Yeah.
To compare it, yes. Maybe on a legacy project run against. Maybe also this would be a cool talk to compare Psalm and PHP Stan. Challenge.
Mm-hmm. Okay, are there any more questions from the audience? I don't see anybody typing, so
here are some useful answers, I think. Yeah, read it.
Regarding Captain Hook.
Regarding Captain Hook and your example to run PHP Stan, do you run it locally or in Docker? It's locally. It's just locally. It's just a composer install. It's locally here. It has nothing to do with Docker or anything. I don't need Docker. At this point, I don't need Docker. It's static code analyze, and this is so cool because when I say, hey, let me contribute, we ask ourselves what we can do on contributing, and we worked with PHP Stan, and we say, hey, okay, this is so easy. Let's do something for the Zulu project with PHP Stan, and we just do a git clone and say PHP Stan on this folder, and worked. Perfect.
Yeah.
It can also run in Docker, and Docker can run anything. But the question is, on Docker, I don't have my ZSH shell. I don't have my colors. I don't have my living room feeling of a developer on Docker. I need colors. I need colors.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it could be useful if you need to run it on with different versions of PHP or so. But okay. Very well. If there are no more questions, I think we will conclude here. It's also 9:08 already. So Roland, I want to thank you very much for this very inspiring and interesting talk. I'm sure that many have learned, I at least, and I see from the reactions also that uptake is very good. So thank you once more, and hope to have you in another meetup later on also.
Yes, sure. I will grab something to drink, and I'm here, and maybe we talk all together after the second time, have some community. So there's no presentation so far because I hated bullet points and I do everything live. Check out my I have 2 or 3 YouTube videos from 10 minutes to 45 minutes about my pipelines on Nevercode Alone channel. There you get everything what you want to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will make you then now a regular attendee. You can follow, of course, the meetup in the next talks.
Yeah, sure. I will stay here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we'll have a little break here, maybe because we are now 10 past. Yeah, okay, it's already on the slides. We'll see you again here in 10 minutes, so that means 20 past 8 with our next speaker. Thank you. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. I hope everyone had a nice break, and we are almost ready to start with our second speaker, which is Ismael Velasco. I made him presenter. Yes, there is Ismael.
Hello.
Hello. You're not sounding very loud.
Let me try and see if I can improve that. Okay, my microphone is already at maximum. Let me boost it. Is this better?
Yep, it looks better. It sounds better. Okay. So welcome, Ismael, and thank you for wanting to speak at our meetup. But I will give you the screen right away. So if your presentation ready, please start screen sharing, and it's all yours.
Okay, I think you can. Oh,
okay.
Can you see?
Yes, it works nicely.
Great.
Great.
Fantastic. Okay, well, lovely to be here. It feels like a really great treat and a great privilege. I just decided a month ago or so to become more active in the PHP community, and so I reached out to a few meetups, and I was very touched by the fact that out of a list of, I don't know, 8 different mostly technical talks, PHPBenelux was the only one that chose the tech for social impact. So that tells you a little bit about the culture of this fantastic group. And I was likewise touched very much by Roland's generosity in sharing his own journey through mental health and creating space for all of us in a space where there is often taboo. And that in itself is social impact. And of course, the sharing of community, the sharing of tools. I've learned so much in the last session. There's certain tools that I will definitely be testing and checking for my workflow. So I am really grateful and excited to be joining Benelux. I've been in all 3 countries separately, never at once like today. So this is a fantastic way to travel as well. And being able to hear the sounds of children is also something you don't often get in meetups, and which I personally really value. So thank you, Roland, to your daughter for the extra delight. So the topic of my talk is tech for social impact, strategies for making a difference. And about me, first of all, my name is Ismael Velasco. I am a Mexican cosmopolite living in Wales in the UK at the moment. I am a PHP developer, and I acted briefly as temporary head of COVID response at bookinglive.com. That's a company I work in. So when the crisis came, some of the stuff I'm sharing today, I brought to my workplace and allowed us to pivot to react to the challenges we all face still. Before I became a programmer, I spent 25 years in the social impact space. I began quite young, and I participated in hundreds of social impact initiatives in 25 countries. I was a consultant on social impact with the United Nations, the Red Cross, the Royal Society of Arts, Arctic Winter Games, but really mostly I worked at the grassroots with very, very widely ranging projects, communities, etc. So I am excited by today bringing my 2 worlds together, the world of social impact and the world of programming and technology. You can find me on Twitter at DevOnAJourney. Please reach out. As I said, I'm just starting to join the community, and the more people I am in touch with in conversation, the happier I am. So please, if you're there, follow me, I'll follow you back, and we can keep chatting beyond this meeting. I am going to focus on 5 strategies to achieve social impact with your application. And the premise I'm starting from is that it doesn't matter what your application is. It doesn't matter what your tech product is. You might work in a company that does, like mine, booking systems or stock inventory, or you might be in open source, or you might be having your own package, or you might actually be in a company with a social mission that is doing technology for sustainability. It doesn't matter. These 5 strategies should be relevant. And behind this is the notion that really tech in many ways needs a nudge. The inventor of design patterns was not a programmer, he was an architect, Alexander, who invented patterns, first of all, in the world of physical architecture, which were then absorbed into software development. And in a very interesting talk to the object-oriented programming community, his mission for creating design patterns in physical architecture were that he felt that architecture since the 19th century had become soulless and was a major driver of poor well-being, both in individuals and in communities. He was a visionary. We are now fully bought in as a society, really, that the built environment makes a huge difference to our social fabric and our inner health. But at that time, he was the one who saw it, and he saw that in the past, ancient architecture had a certain harmony that made you whole. And so he sought to try and revive wholeness in the world through this physical architecture by finding the patterns that generate that feeling, that experience of wholeness. When it got imported into software, he was excited by the prospect because he felt he had failed. He felt that the process of doing this one building at a time, 10 buildings at a time, 100 buildings at a time physically was too slow to achieve social change. But he gave programmers the challenge back in the early 90s, I think, or maybe late 90s. He gave us the challenge. He said that actually we are now the builders of the sort of virtual environment, of the fabric that binds the whole of society together more and more. Software is the nexus by which all of society moves. So if we are able to create technologies, programs, applications that contribute not just to good code, but to good living, to good environments, to good societies, then programmers have the opportunity that physical architects do not have or did not have in his view. And that was his challenge. So the context of this is this idea that we can all nudge the applications, the environments in which we work and live and exist as programmers to provide added value to the whole of society. And that if we did this, if programmers did this as part of their day-to-day at scale, the entire planet would be significantly improved because we are in such a fundamental strategic spot, as it were, where our tweaks can go far in that sense. And clearly, society has now caught up with the fact that tech has that responsibility, and as a whole, as an industry, hasn't yet risen to the challenge. So what are these 5 strategies that I will suggest? It's a roadmap, and I'd like to explore them from the least complexity and the least challenge to the most impact in many ways and the greatest reach and depth of engagement in most cases. So the first step of this impact roadmap is to adopt a social mission, is to actually embrace the desire to make a difference. If you don't have that desire to make a difference, well, you're just going to get on with your job. But if you do want to to make a difference, to have a positive social impact, then the first step comes with adopting a social mission that speaks to you, that you believe in, that motivates you, that makes you want to do that extra bit of effort, and that is authentic, that is not a branding exercise or a marketing thing. It is something that you care about. If you care about mental health, it might be mental health. If it's the environment, it's the environment. If it's both things, it's both things. But whatever it is that drives you personally or as a company, whatever harmonizes with you, but it really begins with individuals. So it really has to be something that you believe in, that you really would like, that would make you feel better about yourself and about the world. If you could say at the end of a day or at the end of a year, I worked as a programmer and I put my little grain of sand toward this mission. So having identified that mission and adopted it as your goal in life, the first stage of impact is promotion. Messaging is very cheap. Messaging is very easy. We are all in constant communication in one way or another. So your application, if you've created a package, if you've created a product, the moment that it goes out of your local environment into GitHub, or more so into an actual company, you're wanting to share it, you're wanting to communicate. So you are messaging. That's something that everybody does with anything that they want to share with others. So that gives you the opportunity to bring in your social mission into your messaging. So when you are, who are you speaking to? How can that communication affect that, promote that mission? Beyond promotion, the next stage would be, how do you redistribute your resources to a social mission? So it might be that it's a proportion of your revenue. It might be that it's a proportion of your time or of your staff's time. It might be that it is access to the resources that you are producing. I am quite excited by the raffle today, and I am a great fan of Spashi or Spashi. I actually don't know how to pronounce it, but I am a very keen fan as a Laravel user of all of their work and sort of rely on it often. So they are sharing the resource of their training book and video for PHP 8 with us as a way of building community in the programming world. So what are the resources? It's not just money, but money is clearly part of it. And that requires a bit more thought than just promotion. So how do the resources that you have access, how can you reinvest and redistribute them to make a difference to that mission that drives you? The next stage is connection. Every one of us is a node in a network, and our applications in particular are nodes in a network because they have users and they have people who engage with it. So that puts us in a strategic spot. That means that potentially we can be a point of contact between all of those people that are our vertices, all of those people who are connecting to us, and the social mission that we want to contribute. So one thing is if I promote that message, but if I can get all of the people who use my app to promote that message, clearly that's a multiplier. One thing is if I invest my resources, but if I can get all of my stakeholders to invest their resources, that's a multiplier. So that's a more sophisticated approach, but one that can obviously increase the impact. The next stage is to become much more direct, is to correlate your application to a social mission. So at the moment, your application does, I don't know, I said stock management, maybe it takes measurements, maybe it takes bookings. My mind suddenly went blank on all the apps that I actually use, but there are lots. Now, the question becomes, if you were not thinking of whatever you started thinking of, if you were thinking of that social mission, is there any way in which your tool could fill a need? Is there any way in which the functionality of your app could be applied to a domain in that social mission. And then you become a formally tech for good app, as it were. You're actually sort of an app to challenge homelessness, or you are an app to improve sustainability, or you're an app to improve mental health, simply because your functionality, you have found a way of correlating what you already do to a need that you hadn't really thought about, or a population that you hadn't really thought about. And finally, integration of that mission into your own practices. So we traveled by car all the way, and now the car became a bicycle here. That requires an entire change of approach. If we're going to make that journey by bicycle, we're going to have to think about it in a very different way. So similarly, how does that mission propagate into your own working practices? Do you aspire to net zero in your own usage? Do you work an ethical investment strategy? Are your employees given volunteering time specifically? How do you walk the talk? How do you reshape your organization to not just be a promoter or an impactor or an actor toward that social mission, but an example and an incarnation and embodiment of those ideals progressively and infinitely? So these are the areas that I'd like to explore in a little bit more detail next. So first, the question of adoption, of adopting a social mission. What is your mission? So this depends obviously on who's asking the question. Is it you as an individual, employee in a large organization, or is it you as a company owner or leader, or is it you as a package creator? All of this gives you different levels of control. But what is important is to recognize that whatever your social space, you have the power to contribute to that mission. If you're in a massive organization and you're just in one team, you might be able to motivate your team to be part of that. You might be able to shape the corner in which you have influence, and that might propagate upwards, which is what happened with me, for example, and COVID. It's something I'll share in a bit, maybe. But that's the important thing, is to identify what is it that you really care about. But it's not really enough, because most of us do not have expertise necessarily in that mission, or maybe we do have some, but we're individuals most of the time engaged in this. This is not for, I think, the majority of us. We would be coming from a domain where we are programmers, 8 hours a day, and we want to now make a difference to the area of mental health, or to the area of animal rights, or to the environment. So it's important that we don't just act for other people, but with other people. So this question of who are your partners is as important as what is your mission, because those partners will give you the validation that your ideas are useful. They will give you the vehicles for impact. They will give you projection, and they will give you credibility, and they will give you guidance, and they will give you motivation, and they will give you feedback and strength. So I would say that partnership is indispensable. If you're doing it alone, if you do not have partners who are protagonists in that mission, you are probably going about it poorly in many different ways. And sometimes your efforts to help can actually be harmful. It's still worth trying. I think it's better than not trying. Motivation matters, and you learn iteratively. But really, once you have found your mission, whatever it is it to make a difference to COVID? Is it to make a difference to your neighborhood, or the neighborhood in which your office is sort of centered? Whatever your mission is, find a partner, a local authority, an NGO or charity, an expert, a university, a user group, a community group, a self-help group, whoever it is that would be your right partner, find a partner so that all the next steps that follow are thought about and implemented together with a partner outside of your organization who are themselves a hub, a node in the network of the domain of that mission. So then we get into promotion. What is the need? This is again where that partnership becomes really important. You could message anything, but is there a message that is urgently needed? And is there a message that will make a greatest impact via the partners that you have? So for instance, if I care about mental health, then I want to promote mental health. That's a bit abstract. What is the need? And perhaps my focus is sort of on gender, or my focus is on the workplace, or my focus is on children or on young people. So if it was children and young people, for example, then what is the need? What is the message that people need to hear, and who needs to hear it? Is it a general one? You want to take away stigma, for example, so you want to just say it's okay to acknowledge that we all suffer from mental health issues? Then who needs to hear it? Who is your audience for that? Who needs to lose that taboo, for example? Or is it that your partner, what you want to do is amplify that partner? You want to work with that partner. And so all your promotion is to give a voice to those who are giving a voice to others, or to the user group, or whatever it is. You identify not just what is your general mission, but what specifically is the message that is most needed and that can make the greatest difference. So once you have that message and that need, then you identify all of the channels that are there at your disposal. Who is already listening to you? And this can shape all of those discussions about what is the need, what is the message. Who is your audience? Who is already listening to you? If you put something out there, who will hear you? So what would be the message that those people who are already listening to you, if they heard it, would make the biggest difference? So you go through those questions, you go through that process iteratively, and you potentially, apply all the things you apply to messaging in other areas to measure the effectiveness, to refine it. But in this case, you just make sure that that is coherent with your mission. And the more coherent it is with who you are as well, the more natural it is. Is there a way in which your product, your company, your application naturally overlaps with the message? That's great. If not, it doesn't matter, because the point is your mission. So maybe you do stock inventory, but your mission is helping children who are being bullied. There is nothing to stop you from choosing that as your goal. So what is your message? Then comes the area of redistribution. So what is your investment model? You want to invest in sort of mental health, or you want to invest in in the environment. How will you invest? Will it be a percentage of your income? Will it be a percentage of your staff time? Will it be a percentage of your equipment, of your resources? Will it be all of those? What can you invest into this mission? If you want to help bullied children, can you devote a percentage of every transaction made in your application to an anti-bullying charity? Can you dedicate time from your staff into building technologies or apps or portals that help children who are being bullied to express their feelings and connect with support? Do you have a space that you could make available for people to rent, or rent free rather, for people to use for counseling sessions, for example, in your office? There are so many resources that you can invest. So you identify what is the model by which you will invest all of those resources in that mission. And you also ask yourself, where would that investment have the maximum impact? So the tokenistic way is often, I've raised some money, I'm going to give it to a charity, and that's okay. It's a good thing. It's not a poor thing, but it's a superficial thing compared to sitting down with that charity and thinking, I've got a venue, I've got 200 hours of staff time, I've got both sort of sporadic and regular revenue that I could invest into this. Where would this be most impactful? How can we work on something that ensures that this has this impact? So that partnership becomes very, very crucial. And then comes connection. So who do you reach? And that's who is already engaged with you. The board of your of directors, your clients and users who come every day, the people who consume your feed or your message or your newsletter. Who are the people who are interacting with you constantly? And what are the contact points? That, in a sense, connects to that, to each of the sort of previous questions is like a Russian doll. It's contained in this, right? You can apply the redistribution one to the messaging. You can apply this connection to the redistribution and the messaging. And then the second question is, who do they reach? Because that means that you can leverage this. This can become a multiplier. The first layer of multiplication is, if you've decided, for example, that investment revenue, now what would it look like if every time that somebody does a transaction or their first transaction in your app, they get a menu saying, would you like to contribute to our mission? And they can contribute with time or with money or with resources, depending on whatever it is that you want the call to action to be. So suddenly you've become a portal for that connection. Or it could be actually that you are recruiting volunteers. You want to volunteer, or do you want to join a mailing list that sort of, or a think tank, or an action group, or a task force, or an event that we're running about this? And secondly is, who do they reach? Can you, is it more, for example, a matter of identifying which organizations, particularly the clients, if they're corporate or organizational clients, if you do B2B, which clients do they have? Which organizations could they bring in as partners, as sponsors, as supporters? Could you bring them into your redistribution model? Could they provide a portion of their revenue, of their staff time, of their venues? Could you create a network for action, for planning, for innovation? So understanding that your connectivity to others and their connectivity to others, those 2 degrees, are an incredibly powerful force for social impact, becomes very, very significant. And then, as I mentioned earlier, becomes the correlation. What social challenge could your app solve? Maybe this is a good point at which to give an example of this, for example, of what happened in my company and in my world. I had only just joined Booking Live a year ago or so. So just before the pandemic hit, and I did not have any particular involvement with social impact. Booking Live didn't have a particular involvement with social impact. They sponsored meetups. They worked with sort of local authorities, and so they did provide services that were that added to the social good in that respect, but they weren't a socially driven company in that respect. And I was just a PHP backend developer on a SPA. And then the pandemic hit, and we all obviously were moved, affected, motivated. We all wanted to do something about this. And at this point, I discovered there was this fantastic initiative called the Global Hack, which became this massive, one of the largest hackathons in history. There were 15,000 developers, innovators, designers from 95 countries participating on trying to find contributions to the COVID challenge along different tracks. So I joined it, and then I came to my office as a very new employee and said, this has just appeared. I've just joined it. Would you be up for being part of this? Because I could see how what we do in Booking Live, which is provide booking systems for organizations, could potentially be of relevance to addressing the challenge that we're having, processing the logistics of PPE, the logistics of that's personal protection or equipment, the logistics of vaccinations, the logistics of moving inventory around and crowdsourcing stuff. So I think we could be of use. What do you think? And to their credit, the CEO and the leadership of the organization were excited and said, run with it. So I ran a design workshop with the full staff team on how we could correlate what we did to the COVID challenge. And we identified that there were a number of areas where we could help in terms of there were a few stumbling blocks that we identified in sourcing personal protective equipment and in the supply chain, I suppose, of all these challenges. And so we entered the Global Hack, and it was all volunteers. And I think there were 4 or 5 of us from the company that joined. And we didn't sleep for a weekend. And it was quite magical, because just when I felt, oh no, we need a video, someone said, oh, I know how to do videos. Great, we've got a video person. We needed a front end. Oh, I'm the front end person, I'll do this. I don't really know the system, I'm new. Oh, here we have the veteran who knows our interface backwards coming in. And I realized that if no one had joined, my global hackathon would have been a total disaster, because I could never have delivered anything useful on my own. But by the end of it, we actually won our track and came top and came top 10 out of all the solutions, sort of from the 15,000 participants. And it was a very exciting and beautiful process. But even more powerful, I think, than that win was that the fact that it helped the whole organization begin to pivot and think, how can the whole of what we do focus on social impact around COVID? And that led to my sort of working for, I can't remember whether it was 3 or 4 or 5 months, it probably was about 5 months, where I was sort of appointed as temporary head of COVID response. And in that capacity, we did all of the things that I've mentioned before. So we created for the promotion, we brought together local authorities across the country to think about what are the challenges of technology and the pandemic. What was the learning from local authorities trying to respond at speed to the challenge that COVID brought, and where were the bottlenecks in technology, which could inform further our correlation and how could our product help out. We also created an international, a global one, where we had the United Nations and the Rockefeller Foundation and the the biggest association of local authorities across the planet, asked the same question, and ourselves. And that was another example of that connection, of the relationships that we had. And some of those relationships were relationships that the company had because it worked with local authorities. So a lot of those local authorities were part of our connection for that first meeting. And others were the connections that individuals within the company had, that between them came together to create these beautiful events, and that are really sort of, they're there on video. They're really interesting. There's so much learning in the learning that came. From that also came partnerships with local authorities, with local governments, and with other organizations that allowed us to identify what the needs were. And from that came funding bids to innovation funds that actually helped the company innovate and come up with a completely new concept for managing population density at the same time as we do our bookings. And these were all ideas that help us evolve not just our social impact, but also our unique selling point, also our capacity as a company to compete commercially, not just sort of socially. So these things were not in competition. It wasn't just an act of charity, it was a transformation. So it was the art of embedding our app, the Booking Live app, into the COVID-19 domain, and more specifically around local authorities. This is where we began, really. Obviously, this is just one very narrow case. If I had more time, I'd share some beautiful examples from my last company called Substract, who create massive 6-figure WordPress sites for the cultural sector, for the biggest theaters in the world, the Shakespeare Globe, etc. And when the pandemic came and the cultural sector collapsed practically and just went into dormancy, they identified themselves as this node of connection and were able to connect, to take advantage of their position as the point of contact between all the theaters in the world almost, and create a portal of solidarity and of creativity where people could consume culture across all of these sectors virtually, but also contribute financially to each of these theaters and artists that were struggling. So they used their connection and their mission, their existing mission, their commercial mission, as it were, to achieve social impact and make a difference to their environment. The sky is the limit in that respect. And that's where all of this process eventually leads us to that integration of social mission into our functioning, into who we are. So the first element is, how can you be an example? How can you walk the talk? How can you be the change you want? So if you are doing fantastic social impact and helping, reduce homelessness in your community and doing beautiful messaging, but you are demanding inhuman hours from your staff, there's a tension there. You're giving to the world but taking away from your community, as it were, from your employees, from your own heart and soul, really. So how do you create personnel policies that are emancipatory and enriching and liberating and empowering? How do you harness the passion, the connection, the interests of your staff, the vocation? Because almost every human being, in my experience, has somewhere inside, sometimes close to the surface, sometimes deeper down. But I think it is part of human nature. We are wired to collaborate, which is not the popular myth, but this is actually how evolution has evolved. Our competitive edge in evolution has been our ability to increasingly collaborate at scale. Before, we could only collaborate as families, then as clans, then as tribes, then as city-states, and as nations. We're now on the cusp of sort of collaborating globally. And our psychology has been wired to respond to this. we are pro-social beings, which means that inside every member of your team, inside every member of your company, there is the potential desire to make a difference, to gain meaning from that. And if your company, if your application, if your package becomes a vehicle for the expression of that innate human impulse, then obviously you become a much happier, better place to work for. But also in tech, we don't generally track our footprint. This is something that is evolving a lot more as algorithms now have environmental footprints that we can begin to track, for example, as cloud computing is no longer just neutral. So taking the time to find out what impact we are having. And it doesn't mean that we then feel guilty and don't do anything or do everything. It's more simply, how can we be in a process of continual improvement? And that applies to every area of life. Whatever your social mission is, how can you be a good citizen? And how can you help the people that you collaborate with and interact with be good citizens? And secondly, how can you be a catalyst? How can the people who interact with you be nudged by you in gentle and authentic ways toward finding expression to their own impulse? If we assume that impulse is there, how can you become a vehicle for others, other organizations, other businesses to have a positive social impact? So this integration then becomes essentially a way of bringing the previous 4 strategies into one and kitting yourself. Action that is well-intentioned, action that has sincerity and commitment to it. Because if you take the right step with genuine sincerity and genuine commitment, and for example, your first action might be to adopt the mission and find a partner. You don't have to worry about what else you'll do, but literally go, I'm going to make a difference to this, and I'm going to find someone to make a difference with. If that's all you take away from here, just that choice to make a difference with someone outside of your company, outside of your environment, who is immersed in the area that you want to make a difference to, and you just keep taking the next step, the rest will follow. Everything else will come. And if 5 people from today do so, that's not 5 people impacted. That's 500, that's 5,000, that's a tech ecosystem that has been nudged in that direction. That is that dream of building a social fabric that makes us whole, one grain of sand closer. So thank you very much for this opportunity. If there are any questions or ideas, please, again, do reach me on Twitter, or you can email me as well. And thank you again for this great opportunity.
Thank you very much, Ismael, for this very inspiring talk. Yeah, there are some questions coming up right now. Yeah, here. So if you see, yeah, you can see it also on the screen right now. Well, that's not from the previous version.
I have to say, I haven't used the PHP Stan extension or used Captain.
Question and answer mode. Yeah, there it is.
You talk mostly about technology impact initiatives, but have you worked with initiatives for those who don't have access to technology? And if yes, do you have resources that are operating beyond just national levels? I have focused on technology impact because really my focus, in a sense, is the people in this audience, is the fact that you are all involved in technology, and therefore you have the opportunity to have an impact. Now, one of those impacts can precisely be reaching those without access to technology. So that can be one of the social missions that you can choose. But it's important for me to focus this on your own context, in your own individual personal context. How can I take this further? So along those lines, in fact, today I saw in my local community here that my local authority, Newport City Council, has just created a new pot of money to help the local community, partly with digital inclusion. And I instantly had this thought. I reached out to a fantastic training academy, and I said, "Would you be up for if I find you £3,000? Would you be up for running a 12-week course that equips people with the vision of what it means to be a software developer, to find out whether they can and want to be it, to get enough by the end of it that they can make a start with it? And if so, if you're happy with that, then I will find in the community those who have currently little access to this and therefore are excluded from this. So I will work with local communities to provide spaces where people can access the technology, the tools, and the course, so that at the end of it, those people who may never have thought of themselves as potential software developers might actually do so. That's an example of one way in which I personally have approached that question. Now, I think, again, your local context and global context indeed would be one. Off the top of my head, I cannot think just now specifically of those resources that are beyond the national level, but I have come across them. So if you could send me a message on Twitter, or just at me on Twitter with that last question, I will share some resources, because there are, again, this is where the partnership comes. There are, no matter what social problem you think of, no matter what you're vaguely interested in or strongly passionate about, you can be 100% certain that there are partners out there who are working on this. So there are people who are dedicated entirely globally to technological access, to bridging the gap of technological access. So I'm very happy to tweet a whole bunch of resources for you to follow up if you'd like to connect your technological know-how with their vehicles, as it were, their resources for widening technological access. So please do tweet me, please, Michelangelo, and I'll give you some resources at the end.
Thank you. We have a second question from Mark Baker.
Sometimes
yes,
it feels as though working toward a social initiative can feel like fighting an uphill battle. One step forward, 2 steps back. How do you keep yourself motivated? That's a very good point. And I think really the best answer I can give you is that it's exactly the same as programming. That when I came into programming, I used to find the experience of getting completely and totally stuck as feedback that was telling me I was failing at something, because it wasn't something that happened all the time. So mostly you do your thing, it works, and then every so often in life you get stuck and it's horrible and it's demotivating. Like this, you're trying to work toward a social initiative and then suddenly you get stuck. You've got a bug. When I started programming, I realized that getting stuck wasn't an anomaly. It was every other week. Every other week, you have that programmer morale curve, isn't it? Where you go like that, the bug, your morale crashes. You go, I don't know why I ever got into this. I hate this. You break through and you feel like a genius and life is great. So I would say that it is the same process. That if you have the right partners and you have the right mission and the right commitment, the rest is problem solving. You will hit periodic impasses. You will hit periodic spots where you are stuck and have no way out, just like you do in code. But if you bring in the same attitude that you bring to debugging, and you go, okay, this is great because I hate it right now. I am in configuration hell. But at the end of this, I know I'm going to have one more tool in my toolkit. At the end of this, I know that I will know Linux better. I will know Docker better. I will know PHP better. Similarly, this is an iterative process. Having said that, I think, again, there's a lot in the tech learning that can be adapted to this. So in programming, we began with waterfall. And waterfall was very painful. And that's one of the things that led us to agile processes. And however you feel about Scrum or particular rituals, the idea of failing early and having potentially deployable increments applies to social impact too. If your social initiative has an impact at the end of a massive chain of complexity, it's much more likely that you will experience highly demotivating and even catastrophic failure. But if you break your journey towards social impact into potentially deployable increments, into incremental steps of impact, so you have this notion that you are going to eventually provide food for 5,000 homeless people in your city. That's great. If the first step can help one agency that's helping them, you've got one win. So as long as you keep getting wins, as long as you keep achieving small impacts, then even if you get impasses, even if you get sort of stuck every so often, if you can overall plot your journey as one of having made a difference, and the difference between social impact and code is that if you have helped 2 lives, and then you get terribly stuck, and even your entire project ends, those 2 lives have already been changed. And that is eternally worthwhile. Whereas if your app fails, those 5 commits that you deployed is like, meh, that's great. I deployed a commit, it never went live. In this case, there is no failure, really. There is just pace and scale, but there is no failure. So as long as you bring some design thinking to your process so that your impacts are frequent and incremental, then motivation will come. And the last bit I should say is the partnership makes a difference. If you have the right partner, you are not alone, and you will get that mutual validation that you're in the coalface together and that the battle is worth it, and that the people around you have been battling it longer and they're still there because it's worth it. So actually carry on. Yeah.
Thank you. Mark has a follow-up comment. Of course, it's also here.
Yes, absolutely. I sometimes feel like programming is an uphill battle as well, and dream of leaving it all behind to become a catfish farer in Crete. Not likely to happen during COVID, though. I think that, yeah, we are absolutely all there. There are repeated points where I have had the absolute indubitable certainty that I am an idiot in the wrong profession until I break through. But then I do, and I feel better for having overcome all of those several times. So yeah, I feel you.
Okay. Let's see. Don't see anybody typing right now, so if there are no more questions, I think we can conclude this talk here. So, Ismail, thank you once more for this very, very, very nice talk. Unusual talk, of course, in our meetings, but nevertheless, it deserves its place. And you have shown this tonight, definitely. So, Ismail, I will now make you normal attendee again. Don't walk away yet. We still have raffles, and those apply also to you as well. Thank you once more. Presentation. So to our audience, would like to make one more call for action. We created a joined-in feedback page for this meetup. Please do rate the 2 talks we had today. Do rate also the session itself overall, where we from the PHPBenelux team can improve. This is much appreciated both by the speakers and us, and will make the future even better with our online meetups. Then now it is raffle time, and I would like to invite Michelangelo back here on the virtual stage to do his thing with this. There he is.
Yeah, you see me smiling already. I can give things away. Let's have a look here. Presenting. It's on.
Oh, it's
okay. As usual, for those who are new to the meetup, all the names that were attending, I've added in this list, and that means that whoever gets chosen a winner will be receiving a prize. Just for your reference, we have elephants to give away. We have Heroku swag to give away. And by the graces of the folks at Spasi, we also have, I believe, 3 coupons for the frontline PHP training course, which is all focused on PHP 8. So yes, it's going to be a fun exercise. So let me stop the waiting and click to spin. And this is for the first elephant, Top Manloy.
okay.
Okay.
And
Tom, I'm going to remove you now. Let's click again for the second elephant. Well, congratulations. So Tom, Jagana, I hope I spelled your name correctly. Congratulations, you both have won an elephant. And now we go for 2 Heroku packages. This includes Heroku elephant, socks, 2 pair of socks, and a deck of cards and stickers. So Hans. So I don't know your last name, but Hans, stick with us because we need your contact details. And the second. Michelle Lauren. Congratulations. And now we go for 3 frontline PHP training courses, generously sponsored by Spasi. Congratulations, Mark. Martin, congratulations. And the last one. Oh, it's going to be exciting. Arjan, congratulations. I just noticed here a message from Mark Baker. He wants to put his prize back into the pool. Are you really sure, Mark? He's really sure. Okay, so the final winner of the night, thanks to Mark Baker. You're still amazes. Thank you. Oh, exciting. Naomi, congratulations. So that was it for today. I hope you all enjoyed it. At least I did. Don't forget, we have every second Thursday of the month a virtual meetup. We will invite interesting speakers. If you have an interest of talking, send a mail to meetup@phpbenelux.eu, because we're always looking for new speakers. And yeah, spread the word, bring friends. I mean, it's virtual, so the more people, the merrier it gets. And if you're interested in sponsoring, I'm running low on swag. I used most of the swag from the conferences. So if you have swag, if you have stickers that you want to have sent to everyone, let me know, and I will make sure it gets delivered. So thank you all. Hope you have a great weekend ahead, and I will see you next time.
See you next time, guys.